Captain Lee Nari stared at the readings on her screen. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The numbers did not make sense. She had been tracking energy signals for 3 days now, and they kept getting stronger. "Day, come look at this," she called to her tactical officer. Yoon Day walked over to her station. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor of the bridge. The Silent Thunder was not a big ship. Only 8 people worked on it. But it was fast and quiet. Nobody could see them when they did not want to be seen. "What do you see, Captain?" Day asked. Nari pointed at the screen. "These energy readings. They are huge. Much bigger than anything we have seen before. The Silent Thunder was on a mission. Earth had sent them to check the Kepler 442 system. Strange signals were coming from there. The government wanted to know what was making them." Park Jin looked up from his engineering station. "Captain, the energy is coming from behind that big moon. Should we go closer?" Nari thought about it. They were supposed to stay hidden, but they needed to know what was out there. "Take us around the moon, Jin, but keep us invisible." Kim Soo worked at the communications desk. She was young, but very good at her job. "Captain, I am getting more signals now. They are not human signals." "Alien?" Nari asked. "Yes, Captain. Definitely alien." The Silent Thunder moved slowly around the moon. Nari held her breath. What they saw made everyone stop talking. A massive shipyard filled the space behind the moon. Hundreds of alien ships were being built. Some were already finished. They were huge, much bigger than any human ship. The ships had a dark metal color and strange shapes. "My God," whispered Day. "They are building a war fleet." Nari counted the ships. There were too many. Way too many. "These ships could destroy Earth easily," she said quietly. Jin ran scans on the alien vessels. "Captain, these ships have weapons we have never seen before. Their shields are very strong, and there are at least 200 of them." Kim Soo was listening to the alien communications. "Captain, I think I understand some of their language. They are talking about Earth. They call it Target 1. Nari felt cold fear in her stomach. They are planning to attack Earth. The crew worked quietly for the next hour. They recorded everything they could see. Pictures of the ships, weapon readings, shield data, everything Earth would need to know. But then something happened. The alien ships started moving, not toward Earth. "Toward them, Captain," Kim Soo said with fear in her voice. "They know we are here." "Impossible," Jin said. "Our stealth systems are working perfectly." But it was not impossible. The alien ships were coming right at them, dozens of them. They formed a circle around the Silent Thunder. Nari looked at her crew. They all looked scared, but they also looked ready to fight. That was good. They would need to fight. A voice came over the communication system. It spoke perfect English. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Vextar of the Hegemony Fleet. You are surrounded. Your stealth technology is useless against us. We have been watching you since you entered our system." Nari picked up the communicator. "This is Captain Lee Nari of the human ship Silent Thunder. What do you want?" "What we want is simple, human. You have seen too much. You were not supposed to find our shipyard. But now you have, and that creates a problem." The alien ships moved. Closer. Nari could see them clearly now through the viewport. They were beautiful in a terrifying way. Each ship was the size of a human city. Their weapons pointed directly at the Silent Thunder. "You have 2 choices, human captain." The alien admiral continued. "You can surrender now and become our prisoners. You will live, but you will never see your home again. Or you can try to fight us, and we will destroy your small ship in seconds." Day looked at the tactical display. "Captain, they have 43 ships around us. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a planet." Jin checked his systems. "All. Our weapons are working, Captain, but we only have enough missiles for maybe 5 ships." Kim Soo was recording everything. "Captain, I am sending all our data back to Earth. They will know what happened here." Nari walked to the viewport. She could see the alien fleet surrounding them. They were trapped. No way out. The smart thing to do would be to surrender. Maybe Earth could trade for them later. But Nari was not feeling smart. She was feeling angry. These aliens had been planning to destroy her home. They had been building a war fleet in secret while pretending to be friends with humans. They thought humans were weak and stupid. They were about to learn something important about humans. Nari turned to her crew. They were all watching her, waiting for her decision. She could see the fear in their eyes. But she could also see something else. Trust. They trusted her to make the right choice. "Captain," the alien admiral said over the communicator, "we are waiting for your answer." Nari walked slowly back to the viewport. The alien fleet filled the space around them. So many ships, so much firepower. Any normal person would be terrified. But humans were not normal. That was something the aliens were about to discover. She picked up the communicator and looked out at the enemy fleet. Her crew watched her. The aliens waited for her surrender. Instead, Nari smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the kind of smile that meant someone was about to have a very bad day. "Admiral Vextar," she said in a calm, clear voice, "I have a question for you." "What is your question, human?" Nari looked at each enemy ship surrounding them. She counted them again. 43 ships, all of them ready to kill her and her crew. All of them thinking they had already won. "Did you bring enough body bags?" The communicator went quiet. The alien admiral did not answer right away. When he finally spoke, his voice sounded confused. "What did you say?" But Nari was not listening anymore. She was giving orders to her crew. "Day, prepare all weapons. Jin, give me maximum power to engines. And shields. Sue, start jamming their communications." "Yes, Captain," they all said together. The battle was about to begin. The alien admiral's voice came back over the communicator. He sounded angry now. "Human Captain, your words make no sense. Surrender now or we will destroy you." But Captain Nari was not listening to threats anymore. She was watching her crew work. They moved fast and smooth like they had practiced this 1,000 times. Maybe they had not practiced fighting 43 alien ships, but they had practiced being ready for anything. "Day, what do we have for weapons?" Nari asked. Yoon Day worked at his station quickly. "We have 12 quantum missiles, Captain, plus the pulse cannons and the new Cascade weapon that Jin has been working on." "The Cascade weapon is not tested yet," Park Jin called from his engineering station. "But I think it will work. Maybe." Kim Soo looked up from her communications desk. "Captain, I'm jamming their signals, but they keep trying to coordinate their attack. They are having trouble talking to each other." Nari smiled. "Good. Keep jamming them, Sue. Make it impossible for them to work together." She walked over to Jin's station. "Tell me about this Cascade weapon." Jin looked nervous but excited. "It uses quantum energy to create a chain reaction, Captain. One shot can jump from ship to ship if they are close together. But I have never tested it in real combat." "How close do the ships need to be?" Nari asked. "Very close, maybe 500 meters. Nari looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were spread out in a perfect circle around them. They were too far apart for the Cascade weapon to work. But she had an idea. "Day, show me their formation again." The display showed all 43 ships. They were positioned like they were guarding something very important, which they were. They were guarding their secret shipyard. "They are thinking like soldiers," Nari said. "Perfect formation, perfect spacing, everything by the book." "Is that bad?" Day asked. "For them, yes. Humans do not fight by the book." Admiral Vextar spoke again. "Human vessel, you have 30 seconds to surrender. After that, we will open fire." Nari picked up the communicator. "Admiral, I have a better idea. Why don't you come and take us yourself?" "What?" "You heard me. If you want to capture us, come and get us, unless you are afraid of one small human ship." The alien admiral was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "You think you can make me angry, human? You think I will do something stupid?" "I think you already did something stupid," Nari replied. "You let us find your secret shipyard." Jin looked at his captain with wide eyes. "Captain, what are you doing?" Nari held up one finger, telling him to wait. She was still talking to the alien admiral. You want to know what humans are good at, Admiral? We are good at being unpredictable. We do things that make no sense to other species. Like this. Nari nodded to Day. He pressed a button on his station. Suddenly, the silent thunder did something no ship had ever done before. It split apart. The ship's modular design allowed it to separate into 4 smaller pieces. Each piece had its own engines, weapons, and life support. In seconds, 1 human ship became 4 human ships. The alien formation was designed to trap 1 ship, not 4 ships moving in different directions. What is happening? Admiral Vextar shouted over the communicator. But the humans were not done with surprises. Each of the 4 ship pieces began to move in a different pattern. 1 went up, 1 went down, 1 went left, and 1 went right. But they did not move in straight lines. They moved in crazy spirals and loops that made no sense. Protocol crazy, Ivan, Day said with a grin. I love this part. The alien ships tried to track the human vessels, but their targeting computers could not keep up. The humans were moving too fast and too randomly. Every time the aliens thought they had a target, the humans would change direction in a way that made no sense. Kim Soo was laughing as she worked. Captain, their communications are falling apart. They keep asking each other what to do. That was the problem with perfect military formations. They worked great when everyone knew what was happening. But when chaos started, they fell apart. Fast. Jin was piloting one of the separated sections. Captain, the Cascade weapon is ready. But I still need them closer together. Nari looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were trying to reposition themselves to catch the 4 human vessels. They were moving closer to each other as they tried to create a smaller net. Perfect, she said. Sue, can you make them think we are trying to escape? Already on it, Captain. I am sending fake engine readings that make it look like we are running away. The alien ships moved faster now. They were trying to catch the humans before they could escape. Admiral Vextar was shouting orders over their communications, but the humans were jamming those communications, so half the ships could not hear the orders. Some alien ships moved left to catch the humans going that way. Other ships moved right. They were bunching up, getting closer together, just like Nari. Wanted. Now Jin! She shouted. Park. Jin fired the Cascade weapon. The quantum energy beam hit the nearest alien ship. The ship's shields flashed and failed. But that was not the important part. The important part was what happened next. The energy jumped to the next closest ship, then to the next one, then to the next one after that. Each jump was weaker than the last, but there were a lot of ships very close together now. 7 alien ships lost their shields in 3 seconds. Impossible! Admiral Vextar screamed, but the humans were not finished. While the aliens were confused and blind, the 4 human ship sections came back together. They reassembled into the silent thunder, faster than the aliens could react. Now they had one target again, but that target had just destroyed the shields on 7 of their ships. All weapons fire, Nari ordered. The quantum missiles launched, 12 missiles at 7 unshielded ships. The pulse cannons fired continuously. The aliens tried to return fire, but they were still confused and disorganized. 3 alien ships exploded. 2 more were badly damaged and drifting. In 30 seconds, the humans had turned a hopeless trap into a fighting chance. Admiral Vextar's voice came over the communicator again. This time he did not sound confident. He sounded scared. What? Are you? Captain Nari looked at Admiral Vextar's question on her screen. What are you? He had asked. She smiled as she prepared to give him an answer he would never forget. We are humans, she said into the communicator, and we are not alone. Before the alien admiral could respond, 3 more human ships appeared out of nowhere. They had been hiding, invisible, waiting for the right moment. Now they decloaked right in the middle of the alien formation. The aliens panicked. Their perfect circle was broken. Enemy ships were now inside and outside their formation. They did not know which way to point their weapons. Silent Thunder, this is Ghost Rider. came a voice over the human communication channel. Captain Cho Bin reporting. Sorry we are late to the party. Stormbreaker here, said another voice. Captain Ryu Ha ready for action. Nighthawk standing by, came the third voice. Captain Jong-soo at your service. Nari felt a wave of relief and excitement. The plan was working perfectly. Good to see you all. Let's show these aliens how humans really fight. The 4 human ships began to move in ways that made no sense to the aliens. They did not stay together like a proper fleet. Instead, they spread out and began hunting like wolves. Captain Chobin's ship Ghost Rider was the fastest. It darted between the alien ships, firing quick shots and then disappearing before they could fire back. The aliens tried to track it, but it was like trying to catch smoke. Hit and run, Chobin said over the communication channel, just like we practiced. Captain Ryu Ha took a different approach. Stormbreaker stayed further away and focused on electronic warfare. She was jamming the alien weapon systems and making their shields flicker on and off. Their computer systems are very advanced, Ryu Ha reported, but they are not ready for human chaos programming. Captain Jong-soo was the most aggressive. Nighthawk flew straight at the alien ships, firing everything it had. The aliens expected this kind of attack and tried to respond with their own firepower. But Jong-soo was not where they expected him to be. Close quarters combat, he said, with a laugh. These aliens have never fought anyone crazy enough to ram their ships. Admiral Vextar was screaming orders now. Reform the line. Protect the shipyard. Do not let them escape. But his ships could not reform their line. Every time they tried to get organized, one of the human ships would attack from a new direction. The humans were not fighting like a fleet. They were fighting like individual predators, each with their own style. Nari watched the battle from the Silent Thunder's bridge. Her crew was working perfectly together. Day was tracking targets and calling out positions. Jin was keeping their weapons and engines running at maximum power. Sue was coordinating with the other human ships and jamming alien communications. Captain, Day called out, the aliens are trying to protect something. Look at the tactical display. Nari studied the pattern of alien ship movements. Day was right. Most of the alien ships were staying close to one particular area of space. They were guarding something important. Sue, scan that area. What are they protecting? Kim Sue worked at her station quickly. Captain, there is a massive ship behind their formation, much bigger than the others. It was hidden, but now I can see it. The ship that appeared on their screens was enormous. It was easily 10 times bigger than any of the other alien vessels. Its hull was covered with weapons that could destroy planets. My God, whispered Jin. That thing could wipe out Earth's entire defense fleet by itself. Admiral Vextar's voice came over the communicator again. Now he sounded desperate. Humans, you do not understand what you are doing. That ship is the world. Render it is our most powerful weapon. If you damage it, you will start a war that will destroy your entire species. Nari looked at her crew. They all understood what this meant. The aliens were not just planning to invade Earth. They were planning to completely destroy it. Admiral, Nari said calmly, you already started the war when you built that thing. She opened the channel to all human ships. All vessels, new primary target. That big ship is what we came here to stop. Understood, came the replies from all 3 captains. But destroying the world Render would not be easy. It was protected by shields that were stronger than anything the humans had seen before. Its weapons could reach across the entire battlefield, and it was still surrounded by dozens of alien warships. Captain Chobin's voice came over the communication channel. That ship is too big and too well protected. We need a new plan. Captain Ryu Ha agreed. My electronic warfare is not working. On it. Its computers are completely different from the other ships. Captain Jong-soo had a different idea. What if we do not try to destroy it from the outside? What if we get inside it? Nari thought about this. It was a crazy idea. But crazy ideas were what humans did best. How do we get inside? She asked. The same way we got inside their formation, Jong-soo replied. We make them think we are doing something else. Jin looked up from his engineering station. Captain, I have an idea. What if we make it look like we are trying to escape? If they think we are running away, they might chase us. That would spread out their formation. Day was studying the tactical display. If we can get them to chase us in different directions, we might be able to isolate the world render. Sue was listening to the alien communications. Captain, they are very worried about us escaping. They think we will warn Earth about their invasion plan. Nari made her decision. All ships prepare for Operation Pack Hunt. We are going to split them up and take down the big one. The 4 human ships began to move in different directions as if they were trying to escape in panic. The aliens took the bait. Groups of alien ships broke off from the main formation to chase each human vessel. But the humans were not really running away. They were leading the aliens into a trap. Captain Cho-bin led his pursuers through the asteroid field near the shipyard. The asteroids made it hard for the big alien ships to maneuver. Ghost Rider was small and fast enough to dodge between the rocks, but the alien ships kept crashing into them. Captain Ryu Ha led her group toward the system's star. The intense radiation interfered with the alien sensors and weapons. Stormbreakers, shields were designed to handle radiation, but the alien ships were not. Captain Jong-soo did something even crazier. He led his pursuers straight toward the shipyard itself. The aliens did not want to fire their weapons near their own construction facilities, so they held back their firepower. This left only a few ships protecting the world render. Now! Nari shouted. The Silent Thunder charged straight at the massive alien weapon. The Silent Thunder raced toward the world render at maximum speed. The massive alien weapon began to turn its guns toward them. Each weapon was bigger than Nari's entire ship. Captain, Day called out. That thing is charging its main weapons. If it fires, there will be nothing left of us. But Nari was counting on something. The aliens were smart, but they thought in straight lines. Humans did not. Jin, are the separation systems ready? Yes, Captain. But if we split apart this close to that ship, the pieces will be too small to survive its weapons. We are not going to survive its weapons anyway, Nari replied. So, send a message to the other captains. Tell them to execute Plan Crazy. Kim Sue's hands flew over her controls. Within seconds, she had sent the coded message to all 3 other human ships. The world render's main weapon was almost ready to fire. Nari could see the energy building up in its enormous gun barrel. One shot from that weapon would vaporize her ship and everyone on it. All crew prepare for separation, she announced over the ship's intercom. But instead of splitting into 4 pieces like before, the Silent Thunder did something completely unexpected. It split into 12 tiny pieces. Each piece was barely big enough for one person. At the same moment, the other 3 human ships did the same thing. Suddenly, there were 48 tiny human vessels scattered across the battlefield. The world render fired its massive weapon at the space where the Silent Thunder had been, but there was nothing there anymore, just empty space. What is happening? Admiral Vextar screamed over the communicator. Where did they go? The tiny human pods were too small for the alien weapons to target properly. Their targeting computers were designed to fight big ships, not swarms of tiny objects moving in random directions. But the humans had another surprise waiting. Each tiny pod contained a human with a special suit. These were not normal spacesuits. They were boarding suits designed for getting inside enemy ships. Captain Nari floated in her pod, watching the world render through her helmet display. The massive ship was still turning, trying to find targets to shoot, but it was too late. All boarding teams execute entry, she said into her communicator. The tiny human pods flew straight at the world render. The aliens tried to shoot them down with smaller weapons, but there were too many pods moving too fast in too many directions. Most of the pods made it to the alien ship's hull. They attached themselves to the metal surface like tiny insects. Inside her pod, Nari activated the cutting laser. The laser burned through the alien hull in seconds. She pulled herself through the hole and into the world render. All around the massive ship, other humans were doing the same thing. Captain Cho-bin and his crew, Captain Ryu Ha and her team, Captain Jong-soo and his Marines, even her own crew, members like Dae, Jin, and Sue. They were inside the enemy's ultimate weapon. The inside of the world render was like a city. Corridors stretched in every direction. The walls were covered with alien writing and strange symbols. The air was thick and smelled like metal and ozone. Nari checked her suit's display. It showed the locations of the other human boarding teams. They were scattered throughout the ship, but they were all moving toward the same target, the ship's reactor core. All teams, report status, she said into her communicator. Chobin here. My team is moving through the weapon control section. These aliens really do not like close combat. Ryu Ha reporting. We are in their computer center. I am trying to download their invasion plans. Jong-Soo checking in. We found their marine barracks. They were not expecting visitors. Nari smiled. Inside her helmet, the aliens had built the perfect weapon for fighting other aliens. Large ships with powerful guns shooting at each other across vast distances. But they had never planned for humans to get inside their ship and fight them face to face. She moved through the alien corridors with Jin and 2 other crew members. They had studied the ship's layout during their approach. The reactor should be in the center of the vessel, but as they moved deeper into the ship, they discovered something terrible. Captain, Jin said, looking at his scanner. This is not just a weapon. Look at these readings. Nari checked her own scanner. Jin was right. The world render was not just designed to destroy planets. It was designed to build new ships while it traveled. It was a factory ship. Sue, are you getting this data? She asked. Kim Sue's voice came through the communicator from somewhere else in the ship. Yes, Captain. This ship can build 50 new warships every month, and it is not the only one. They have 12 of these factory ships. The situation was much worse than they had thought. The aliens were not just planning to invade Earth. They were planning to build an unstoppable war fleet that could conquer the entire galaxy. All teams, new priority, Nari announced. We have to destroy this ship completely. If it escapes, it will build enough ships to destroy every human world. But destroying the world render from the inside would not be easy. The ship was huge, and its reactor was protected by multiple layers of security. They would need to fight their way through hundreds of alien defenders, and they were running out of time. Admiral Vextar had figured out what the humans were doing. The remaining alien ships were moving back toward the world render to protect. Soon the humans would be trapped inside with no way to escape. Captain, Day's voice came over the communicator. I am in the shield control room. If I can shut down their shields, maybe the other human ships can get close enough to help us. Do it, Nari replied. But as Day worked to shut down the shields, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the corridors. The aliens knew exactly where the humans were now. All teams, they know we are here, Nari announced. We need to move fast. The race was on. The humans had to reach the reactor and destroy it before the aliens could stop them. And they had to do it while fighting through a ship full of enemies, who were defending their most important weapon. Captain Chobin's voice came over the communicator. Captain, we have a problem. There are thousands of aliens between us and the reactor. We cannot fight through all of them. Captain Ryu Ha agreed. My team is pinned down in the computer center. They have heavy weapons and energy barriers. Captain Jong-Soo sounded determined but worried. We are making progress, but slowly. Too slowly. Nari looked at her team. Jin was checking his equipment. The other crew members were ready to fight, but she could see the doubt in their eyes. The odds were getting worse every second. That was when she made a decision that would change everything. All teams, listen carefully. We are going to do something that has never been done before. We are going to turn this factory ship into a bomb. What? Came voices from all the boarding teams. Jin, can you overload their reactor? She asked. Park Jin thought for a moment. Maybe, Captain. But if I do that, it will destroy the entire ship, and us with it. Not necessarily, Nari replied. Remember, we came here in separation pods. Those pods are still attached to the hull. If we time this right, we can get back to the pods and escape before the ship explodes. It was a desperate plan, but desperate plans were what humans did best. All teams, you have 15 minutes to reach your pods. Jin and I will overload the reactor. Once we start the process, this ship will explode. In exactly 10 minutes, the final phase of the mission had begun. The corridors of the world render filled with the sound of running feet and alien voices shouting orders. Emergency lights flashed red as the ship's defense systems activated. Nari and Jin ran through the metal hallways toward the reactor core, while behind them, alien soldiers were getting closer. "Captain," Jin said as they ran, "the reactor is protected by energy barriers. We need to shut them down before I can overload the system." "Where are the controls?" Nari asked, checking her. "Weapons power level. 3 levels down in the engineering section. But there will be a lot of aliens guarding it." They reached a vertical shaft that led down into the ship's lower levels. Nari looked down and saw alien soldiers climbing up toward them. She pulled out a small explosive device and dropped it down the shaft. The explosion echoed through the ship. For a moment, the climbing sound stopped. "That will not hold them long," she said. "Let's find another way down." Meanwhile, throughout the ship, the other human boarding teams were fighting their own battles. Sergeant Kang Do was leading a team of Marines through the weapon control sections. The aliens had never fought humans in close quarters before. They were used to fighting with energy weapons from long distances. But humans were good at fighting in tight spaces with whatever weapons they could find. "Use the maintenance tools," Kang Do shouted to his team. "These aliens do not know how to fight with hammers and cutting torches." Corporal OU found that the aliens had trouble fighting in zero-gravity sections of the ship. Humans had trained for space combat their whole lives. The aliens clearly preferred to fight with their feet on the ground. "Float above them," she called to her squad. "Attack from directions they do not expect." Captain Cho Bin and his team had reached the ship's communication center. They were trying to prevent the world render from calling for help from other alien fleets. "Their communication system is very advanced," Cho Bin reported over his communicator. "But it has one weakness. It cannot handle random human encryption. I am filling their channels with noise." Captain Ryu Ha was deeper in the ship's computer core. She had discovered something important. "All teams, listen to this," she said. "I found their invasion plans. They are not just planning to attack Earth. They have targets throughout human space. 12 colony worlds will be hit at the same time." This made the mission even more important. If the world render escaped, it would not just threaten Earth. It would threaten every human in the galaxy. Captain Jong-soo was fighting his way through the ship's marine barracks. The alien soldiers were well-trained and heavily armed, but they had never fought an enemy that refused to follow military rules. "They keep trying to form battle lines," he reported. "But battle lines do not work when the enemy crawls through air vents and attacks from behind." Nari and Jin finally reached the engineering section. The corridor ahead was filled with alien soldiers wearing heavy armor and carrying energy weapons. There were too many to fight directly. "We need a distraction," Nari said. Jin looked at his scanner. "Captain, there is a power junction box right above them. If I can overload it, the lights will go out and their energy weapons will not work properly." "Do it." Jin used his cutting laser to open the power box. Sparks flew everywhere as he crossed the wrong wires. Suddenly, the entire section went dark. The aliens began shouting in confusion. Their energy weapons flickered and died. Their armor systems shut down. Nari and Jin ran through the darkness using their helmet lights to see. They reached the reactor control room just as the emergency power came back on. "There," Jin said, pointing at a massive control panel covered with alien symbols. "That controls the reactor barriers." But the room was not empty. 3 alien engineers were working at the controls. They saw the humans and reached for their weapons. The fight was short but fierce. The aliens were not soldiers, but they were desperate to protect their ship. Nari used her combat training to disable 2 of them quickly. Jin tackled the third, one before he could activate an alarm. "How much time do we have?" Nari asked. Jin checked his chronometer. 8 minutes before the other teams need to reach their escape pods. He began working at the alien control panel. The symbols made no sense to human eyes, but Jin was a good engineer. He could figure out any system if he had enough time. "Got it," he said after 2 minutes. "The barriers are down. But Captain, when I overload this reactor, it is going to create a chain reaction. The explosion will be much bigger than we thought." "How much bigger?" "Big enough to destroy the shipyard and every alien ship in the system." Nari thought about this. It would mean the end of the alien invasion fleet, but it would also mean that any humans who did not reach their escape pods in time would die in the explosion. Do it anyway, she decided. This is bigger than just us. Jin began the overload sequence. Warning lights flashed on the control panel. A computer voice began speaking in the alien language, probably warning everyone to evacuate. 5 minutes until explosion. Jin announced over the communicator to all teams. Everyone get to your escape pods now. But not everyone could make it in time. Captain Chobin's voice came over the communicator. My team is trapped in the communication center. The aliens have sealed the blast doors. We cannot get out. Captain Ryu Ha was having similar problems. The computer core is in lockdown. They are trying to prevent us from escaping with their data. Captain Jong Su sounded calm but determined. My team will not make it to the pods in time, but we can hold this position and make sure no aliens escape to warn their fleet. Nari felt a cold fear in her stomach. These brave humans were going to die because of her decision. All teams find another way out. That is an order. Sorry, Captain, Chobin replied. Sometimes orders do not match reality. We knew this might happen when we volunteered. The mission comes first, Ryu Ha agreed. Earth must be warned about the other factory ships. Tell our families we died well, Jong-su added. Jin finished the overload sequence. 2 minutes until explosion, Captain. We need to go now. Nari looked at the reactor control room. These alien systems contained information that could save human worlds. But if she stayed to download it, she would die with the ship. Jin, get to your escape pod. That is an order. What about you, Captain? I am staying. Someone needs to make sure this reactor actually explodes. And someone needs to get the alien invasion data. Jin looked at her with shock. Captain, you cannot stay. The explosion will kill you. Maybe. But if this ship survives, it will kill billions of humans. She pushed Jin toward the door. Go. Your family needs you alive. Jin hesitated for a moment, then ran toward his escape pod. Nari was alone in the reactor control room. The countdown showed 90 seconds until explosion. She began downloading everything she could from the alien computers. Information about their invasion plans. Details about the other factory ships. Weaknesses in their technology. All the data Earth would need to survive the war that was coming. 30 seconds until explosion. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Nari looked at her escape pod location on her suit display. Too far away. She would never make it in time. But maybe that was okay. She had done her job. The aliens' ultimate weapon would be destroyed. Earth would be warned. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. The world render exploded like a new sun. The explosion lit up the entire Kepler 442 system like a second star. The world render's reactor did not just explode. It created a chain reaction that spread through the entire alien shipyard. One by one, the ships under construction caught fire and blew apart. Admiral Vextar watched from his flagship as his invasion fleet was destroyed. Hundreds of ships that had taken years to build were turned into burning metal in minutes. The secret weapon that was supposed to conquer humanity was now expanding cloud of debris. How is this possible? He whispered to himself. They were just humans. But the explosion was not finished yet. The chain reaction reached the fuel storage areas of the shipyard. Secondary explosions began to tear through the remaining alien ships. Even vessels that were far from the world render were caught in the blast. In the escape pods scattered throughout the system, the surviving humans watched the destruction they had caused. Park Jin floated in his tiny pod, staring at the expanding fireball where Captain Nari had been. Captain, do you copy? He said into his communicator over and over. But there was no answer. Most of the human boarding teams had not made it to their escape pods in time. Captain Chobin, Captain Ryu Ha, and Captain Jong-su had died with their crews, fighting to the end to make sure the mission succeeded. Of the 48 humans who had boarded the world render, only 12 had escaped. Jin's communicator crackled with a weak signal. It was Kim Soo calling from another escape pod. Jin, are you there? I am picking up a strange reading from the explosion site. What kind of reading? It looks like a life support beacon. Very weak, but definitely human. Jin felt his heart jump. Where is it coming from? Near the center of the explosion. But that is impossible. Nothing could survive that blast. Unless someone had found a way to shield themselves at the last second. Unless someone had used their engineering skills to turn part of the alien ship into a survival shelter. Sue, guide me to that beacon, Jin said, as he started his pod's engines. It took him 20 minutes to reach the location. What he found there made him laugh with relief and amazement. Captain Lee Nari was floating in space inside what looked like a piece of the World Render's hull. She had welded several metal plates together to create a tiny survival capsule. Her suit's life support was almost gone, but she was alive. Captain, Jin called over the communicator as he maneuvered his pod close to hers. Jin, is that you? Nari's voice was weak but clear. How did you survive that explosion? I remembered something you taught me about emergency welding. When the reactor started to overload, I built a shield around myself using the alien hull. Metal. It was not pretty, but it worked. Jin docked his pod with her makeshift capsule and helped her transfer over. As they flew away from the destruction, Nari showed him what she had risked her life to obtain. I downloaded their entire invasion database, she said. Everything we need to know about their plans, their other factory ships, and their weaknesses. 3 days later, the surviving humans reached Earth. The data that Nari had obtained was immediately sent to every human world and military base in the galaxy. Earth's leaders were shocked by what they learned. The aliens had not just been planning to invade Earth. They had been planning to wipe out humanity completely. 12 factory ships were already built and heading toward human colonies. Each one could produce hundreds of warships, but the humans now knew about the alien plans. They knew where the factory ships were going and when they would arrive. Most importantly, they knew how to destroy them. The war that followed was long and difficult. The aliens had better technology and more ships, but humans had something the aliens could not understand: the ability to do impossible things when they had no other choice. Captain Lee Nari was promoted to admiral and put in charge of Earth's new defense fleet. Her first order was to build ships that could separate into smaller pieces, just like the Silent Thunder had done. We are going to teach the galaxy something important, she told her new officers. Humans do not fight fair. We fight to win. Other surviving crew members became heroes throughout human space. Park Jin designed new weapons based on alien technology. Kim Soo developed communication systems that could not be jammed by enemy forces. Yoon Dae trained new captains in the art of unpredictable warfare, but they never forgot the price of their victory. Captain Cho Bin, Captain Ryu Ha, Captain Jong Soo, and all the others who had died to destroy the world render were remembered as the heroes who saved humanity from extinction. 2 years after the battle, Admiral Nari stood on the bridge of her new flagship looking out at Earth's defense fleet. Hundreds of human ships filled the space around Earth, all of them built with the lessons learned from fighting the aliens. Her aide, Lieutenant Yoon Hae, approached with a report. Admiral, our scouts have found another alien factory ship. It is heading toward the Centauri colonies. Nari looked at the tactical display showing the enemy ship's position. It was big and powerful, just like the world render had been. But now the humans knew how to fight these monsters. Prepare the assault fleet, she ordered, and make sure we have enough boarding pods for a full infiltration attack. Yes, Admiral. Should we expect heavy casualties? Nari thought about all the brave humans who had died to give them this chance. She thought about Captain Chobin's hit-and-run tactics, Captain Ryu Ha's electronic warfare, Captain Jong Soo's fearless close combat. She thought about the question Admiral Vextar had asked after their first victory, "What are you?" Now she knew the answer. They were humans. They were survivors. They were the species that turned impossible situations into victories. "Lieutenant," she said as she watched the fleet prepare for battle, "I hope we are bringing enough body bags, because this time, they will not be for us." The second battle for humanity's survival was about to begin, but this time the aliens would discover that humans learn from every fight. They adapt to every challenge, And they never ever give up. In the depths of space, the alien factory ship continued toward the human colonies, unaware that it was sailing into a trap. The aliens still thought humans were just another species to be conquered. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The story of humanity's fight for survival had only just begun. But one thing was already clear to every species in the galaxy. When humans said, "Did you bring enough body bags?" it was not a question. It was a promise.